Ta-da!
Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming in Lund, Sweden. For today's video, we will be fighting day number 9 in the Battle for the Borderlands. This fight will be between the Skaven Rat Rulers and the Dragon Slayers. Let's go ahead and take a look at the warbands and then go ahead and take a look at the board. Our first warband today for the Skaven Rat Rulers is going to be led by our leader named Zoknal Deadseeker. And he is one of the Dogs of War, and he has the worn boots of Unseemly Haste, which gives him the special Swift Stride rule. And over here we have 2 clan rats, and each of them have the kit, the Regimental Standard, and we have the Regimental Musicians. Skaven has really poor leadership, so we will be needing those re-rolls. And finally over here, the rest of these clan rats, 11 more clan rats, and they have a light armor for a 6+ save. So there you go, 100 points of our Skaven. Our second warband now is going to be called the Dwarf Dragon Slayers. They will be using the red dice. They're going to be led off here by a Dragon Slayer. His name is Brugzuk Caskwalker, and he will be our leader, and we have then 3 Dogs of War with us. One of them has a club with a nail in it, and that's two-handed. D6 special rule random attacks. We have a Regimental Musician in case we need to roll a failed route test, because we only have 4 guys. We lose 2, we have to take that test. And then the last one has the two-handed flail, the Epic Flail, which gives this guy the Frenzy special rule. So there you go, 100 points of the Dwarf Dragon Slayers. Here's our board set up for today, a 4-foot by 4-foot board. And what we have here is an intersection or crossroads in the Borderlands. So a crossroads meeting point where 4 roads come and join together. This will be where we will be fighting this battle today. There's a lot of open space, but we don't have any shooting weapons, so that shouldn't matter. It will be fun to see how things play out as we charge into each other. Let's go ahead and roll now for deployment. Okay, the dwarves with the red dice, Skaven with the black and the red. And the dwarves will pick a side first. And here's the deployment now. The dwarves set up first. Pretty simple here. We have our 4 little guys right here. There's not much of a footprint there. Kind of hiding behind those hedges and bushes, trying to see how the Skaven will set up. Over here on the other side now, we've just got this line of Skaven clan rats. And here is our leader and our standard. I think my strategy here is going to be the ogre strategy, just like charge these guys in and try to take out 2 guys and force them to make a route test. Let's go ahead now and roll to see who begins the game. Skaven deployed second, so on a roll of 1 to 5, they decide who starts. And Skaven will choose to start. All right, so here we go, Skaven turn 1. Okay, we've got no charges to declare, but we are just gonna take all of these Skaven guys right here and just do a massive march up. A full-on onslaught. Let's move those all out and show you how they look. And there you go, final positions for this rat horde. They're basically just moving that line right up, and they're gonna put it in the face of the dwarves. So that's the end of the turn for Skaven. Let's move on to the dwarves, turn 1. Charges to declare. Let's do this. We gotta do this. Let's start out with this guy right here. We will charge against that guy, hopefully making him flee and knocking off the banner. And he's going to hold. Second, we're going to have the musician who's behind this tree. He's going to go after that Skaven clan rat in front of their musician, and he will hold. Let's have this last guy over here go for that clan right there. He will hold, and finally we'll have our Slayer, Dragon Slayer, go after that clan rat, hopefully for an overrun into the leader. Okay, we got a 9 here, so we got to roll a 6 on 2 dice, and we got it. Boom. So he will come flying into here. Actually, excuse me, he was going to go into the guy right here in front of the banner. Next guy behind the tree, we need to roll a 7 to get him into this guy right here. Here we go. Rolling a 7. Oh, the 6, we just missed it. And that will bring that failed charge right here. Last guy's over here. This guy needs to roll an 8 to make it into this guy right here. Let's see if we can pull it off. And he gets it. Look at that. Boom. So he is in there with his epic flail. And our last roll now is going to be for our Slayer, and he's going to go into that one. Also needing to roll a 7. Boom, he got it with a 10. Look at these amazing rolls. So let's take him and put him up there like that. So there's how the line looks. All in all, a pretty successful charge. We only had one guy who didn't make it in, but these 3 are now into combat. Let's go ahead and run through these combats. And before we start the combat, let's of course roll for our Ancestral Grudge. That is a 2. That means that the Dwarf General has the Hatred special rule against the opposing army's General. So if we do happen to get into combat here, this guy and this guy, he will have Hatred against him. Let's start with this combat here. The Skaven Clan Rat has a higher initiative because the Dwarf has great weapons. So hitting on a 4, wounding on a 5, no. Coming back now, hitting on a 3, yes, and wounding on a 2 because of all the strengths. Boom, and no save because of that. So this guy goes down. And as is the curse of the Skaven now, anybody within 6 inches of that kill will have to roll for a panic test. And that is going to extend all the way around, all the way out to here. Let's go ahead and roll all those out off camera and show you what happens. Oh, Skaven. What can you say? Well, we had a bunch of fleeing going on here. A couple guys taking off here. Worst of all, though, we have our banner and we have our leader who also failed, and they're taking off. We had a guy that took off here and ran through this entire line, so it was a couple more guys running over here. These guys all made it. So that is how that stands now after that lost combat. Let's go ahead and overrun with our dwarf. And he's going to overrun a total of 11 inches. And this is just horrible, horrible luck for the Skaven. 11 inches on the overrun will actually bring him clipping our guy right here who is fleeing. So he will actually run down our banner and catch him right there. So that is the end of the regimental standard. Let's turn him around and face him back into combat like this. Next combat, let's run over here and let's have that clan rat attempting to hit on a 4. Yes, wound on a 5, and he pulls it off. 5+ heavy armor save. We really need this. No! Wow, well that was huge for the Skaven because that would have been overrun into our leader who is fleeing. So we'll take him off right now. And that will be a panic test for that guy using Inspiring Presence of his leader of a 10, no problem. And let's go ahead and take on our last combat now between our Dragon Slayer and that little clan rat. Alright, we'll have our dwarf use his great weapon axe now, so the clan rat can go ahead and go first. So here we go, hitting on a 4. And there's a hit, and wounding now on a 6? No. Coming back now with 3 attacks. Hitting on 3s, and there's 2. Wounding on 2s. Yeah, no problem. And he has no possible save, so he is going to be done right there. And let's go ahead and do a little bit of an overrun here. And 10 inches, that is going to bring us crashing into our other leader here. That Skaven guy is now gone. And turning around to face back into combat. Now my strategy really did work. We charged and we defeated them and overran. And fortunately we had people fleeing. We were able to cut them down when we overran. So that was a pretty good strategy. That brings us to the end of Dwarf turn 1. Let's go over here and go over to game turn 2, Skaven. And this will be a tough round, I think, for the Skaven. Alright, we are clearly outmatched as far as battle skill goes between the Skaven and the Dwarves. The Skaven do not have very good weapon skills. So we're going to have to use our numbers to try and take over. Let's go ahead and declare a charge with all 5 of these guys onto that single Dwarf. And if we can successfully kill a second one, then they will have to take a route test. And he's going to hold, so we can go for that last charge. Let's take this guy and charge him into the other dwarf up here. And that dwarf will also hold. Let's roll a few of these off here. 4 inches. Oof. And that is amazingly just enough, so he will get in. This guy right here, no problem. Next guy, no problem there. We're not going to fit all these guys in. This guy makes it in like so. And the last guy will have a failed charge. He can't get in. We'll just put him right there. And right here, let's roll this one out. 7, yeah, he will make it in. So charged, completed there. Compulsory moves, let's go ahead and roll for these guys. And that is a cock die, doesn't matter. He's going to keep running a total of 4 inches. Will that bring him off? No, that will put him right here, inch past his buddy. Next guy, he gets it with a 5 actually. And then let's run over here to the other side and take care of these 2 fleeing guys as well. First one here, 7. No, he's going to continue a total of 9 plus 1, 10 inches. And there's his final position. Let's do this other guy. No, and he's going to continue to run a total of 7 plus 1, 8 inches. And there's his final position. Okay, let's start out with this combat over here. The clan rat is going to be starting first. Hitting on a 4. Yes, wounding on a 5. No. Now we have the club with a nail in. D6 attacks, so 3 attacks coming back. Hitting on 3s, and there is 1, and wounding on a 2, and that's a 6. Far too powerful for any of the armor saves. All right, let's take this combat right here. We've got 4 clan rats hitting first, and they will be hitting on 4s. Oh, look at that. We got 3 hits, and wounding now on 5s. Ha, 2 wounds. 2 5 plus saves. Can we save this, or is he gone? No, he is gone, so this guy is out. And with that, we can have these Skaven reform, move them an inch away like so, face them back into combat. So the strategy worked. They were able to kill off that guy, which means we have to force a panic test or a rout test for the dwarves. So let's go ahead and roll a rout test. We can use the highest leadership, which in this case is a 10. Okay, here we go. A rout test for the dwarves. It is their turn in game turn 2. Here we go. Oh, and they made it. Dwarf turn 2 now. Charges to declare. Let's go ahead and declare a charge with this guy onto that musician, and he will hold. In addition, let's try a long bomb shot from this guy over to that clan right there. For this first one now, 10-inch charge. No, we're going to go ahead 6 inches. So 6 inches will bring us right up there. This one, we need to roll a 5, and we got it. So crashing into the back of that clan rat right there. This time we're actually going to use our axes, our multiple axes. So that means we have our double axes, so we have an extra attack. So we're going to have 4 attacks, and we have the same initiative as the clan rats. Let's go ahead and roll this out now. Wounding on 4s. Hitting on 4s, wounding on, yes, 2 5s. So that's enough to kill him. Does the clan rat, is he able to actually attack? Anything better? 3 to hit and a 6 to wound. No, so that guy is gone. We can overrun with our dwarf, and he will go straight ahead and boom into that next clan. All right, that brings us to the start of the next turn. Let's go to 3 clan rats. Charges to declare. Yeah, this is our last hope. Let's charge these guys in, and they will all make it. This guy will come in on the flank. That is their really only hope, is that they can use their numbers to try and get that Dwarf Dragon Slayer. Compulsory moves, let's roll for these guys. No, he is gone, and he is off the table. This guy, he actually makes it, so he will turn around. And let's jump over here now again once to the other side and go for some compulsory moves here. Let's take this guy, and he is going to also be fleeing off. So what that means now is that with that guy off the table, the Skaven have now hit their breaking point. So this is really the last chance that they have to try and kill this guy. Otherwise, Skaven will be taking a rout test. Very likely they will fail. Okay, let's use our double-handed axes again for an extra attack, and we are attacking at the same time, same initiative. So hitting now on 3s, we got 3 hits there, and wounding on 2s. So 3 guys will be gone. Skaven coming back with 4 attacks, hitting on 4s and wounding on 6s. No, so nothing happens there. We remove 3 Skaven guys. And a pretty sparse battlefield. We have 1 clan rat there. We have 1 clan rat over on the other side, 1 in combat, which will lose, and we have 2 dwarves. And rolling now for the rout test for the Skaven. Here we go on a leadership of 5. No, so they are going to flee off the battlefield. Congratulations to the dwarves. Yeah, I think you could tell from the very beginning of this game when the Skaven took off and fled, especially the leader, who was the one with all of their wounds and all of their power. He was also fled and then run down. You could tell that things were not going to go well for the Skaven. Well, let's go ahead and roll on the upgrade chart for our Dragon Slayer. All right, I don't quite remember how many kills this guy got, but I think it was something like 7. Let's actually go ahead and go with a conservative 6. So we'll add 6 to this 2d6 roll. And there is a 5 plus 6, that would be an 11. True Grit, your leader gains either +1 strength or +1 toughness. And I think we will go ahead and give him a +1 toughness, so he now has a toughness of 6. And with that victory, the Dwarf Dragon Slayers now advance to round 2, in which they will eventually face down the Illyrian Reavers, or the Reavers of Illyria. That should be a really fascinating game to watch because we have the really slow-moving Slayers and Warriors versus the super fast cavalry of the High Elves. So that'll be an interesting match to watch. Stay tuned for that. That will be coming up soon. The next match that we have will be against the Savage Orcs and the High Helms. Well, thank you for joining us here today at Grey Army Gaming, where Grey can always play.